What is going on, guys? This is The Booth with Taylor and Brandon. We're back with a brand new episode number 8 of the series. Taylor, you went blurry, man. You've been drinking too much eggnog this Christmas month, huh?
We
need to refocus that,
let's
man.
just go blurry, man.
I feel like I'm wearing your glasses, man. I feel like I'm seeing what you're seeing.
That's close to what I see. I don't know what's going on.
You gotta refocus. Try to get your hand up there and listen. It wouldn't be the booth if at the beginning of every show something
didn't happen.
Yeah, something didn't happen.
I don't know what is going on.
Maybe turn your camera off, turn it back on. Maybe your camera's just you're so attractive. Your camera's just trying to save the world.
I'm so ugly I broke my camera. That's the old saying, right?
That's probably the more realistic. I'm just kidding.
That is absolutely the most realistic. There we go.
There we go. Look at that.
We here at the booth may have issues, but we're so technologically advanced, we can fix it.
We fixed it before Jimbo Fisher could fix his program over there at Texas A&M.
Ooh, that is true.
I think your camera actually hit the transfer portal. So
it probably did. It has Texas A&M written all over it. So
I thought you were a Sooners fan.
Well, the camera's from Texas A&M. That's why I hit the transfer portal.
Oh, gotcha.
This isn't last year.
All right, so let's get right into it. First of all, since we're doing this during the game, guys, for the NFL game tonight for Thursday. Normally we're gonna be on Tuesday. We're doing it Thursday. Stuff happens. All right, who you got tonight for the NFL for this game, real quick, for our predictions?
I'm going to go with the Bills.
All right, I'm going Bills as well, so we'll even split that, and that's it. All right. Let's get to the college football playoffs. Obviously, Michigan triumphed over Ohio State. We did not see that one coming. We both picked Ohio State last week. We did say that if it was a close game, that they both deserved to be top 4, but Ohio State lost by 3 scores. Now they're sitting at number 5. With Michigan at 2, UGA at 1, TCU at 3, and USC at 4. Do you think that if TCU loses the championship game, that Ohio State somehow sneaks back in? Like, is that fair to TCU, even though Ohio State's not going to a championship game?
I believe so, yes. Ohio State.
What?
Look, if TCU loses their championship game and they're sitting at number 3
with
right
one
now.
Loss.
Ohio State had 1 loss to a top 4
but
team.
They're not even going to the Big Ten championship game. So you're going to penalize a TCU team losing a championship game when Ohio State is not even going to the championship game.
If TCU loses to Kansas State, who's not a top 10, not a top 15 team in a championship game, and they're sitting at number 3 right now, that bumps them down.
I'm starting to think you did drink too much eggnog, sir.
Ohio State lost to a top 4 team, and they dropped all the way out of the top 4. Now, Ohio State hands down, day in and day out, would run track all over TCU.
Listen,
and
CJ
USC.
Stroud cannot win the big one, man.
He absolutely could.
No, he hasn't won. He hasn't won. He hasn't won Jack Nitty. If that's even a word.
I don't think it is. But you're telling me right now, TCU's sitting at number 3, and they go up against Kansas State, and they lose to Kansas State. Let's say they lose by 3 scores.
If they lose by 3 scores, yes, they drop out. But if they lose by 1 touchdown or they keep it within reasonable 10 points, then no, TCU stays in my opinion. You can't penalize a team from going to the championship game. Well, might as well put Bama in. Bama's not going to the championship game. Technically, Bama's higher ranked than LSU, even though LSU beat them. Bama's higher ranked than Tennessee, even though everything's going Tennessee. Obviously, Hendon Hooker's hurt, but Milton looked pretty good stepping in.
So
I mean, this is
Michigan. So OSU lost to Michigan, who was an undefeated team.
Yes.
If TCU loses to Kansas State, they would have lost to a team with 3 losses on the season. That should automatically, regardless of what the score is, bump them out of the top 4, and it should push in Ohio State. That's my opinion.
All right. So, what about USC? What happens if USC loses?
if USC loses, I mean, they drop out. Ohio State bumps in. That's the only logical move, because if Ohio State
you're saying
drops,
Ohio State sneaks in. So what if? Okay, so TCU wins, and say it's not decisively. Let's say it's not like by 3 scores. Say it's pretty close, but they win. Do you still bump them out for Ohio State because you think Ohio State's just a better team? Do you penalize them for winning, even if it's not by a lot?
No.
What if they go into quadruple overtime?
Can I see the committee going in and saying, "Yeah, we're going to take Ohio State over"?
There will be a riot.
Even though they're already in the top 4.
I will join that
happened
riot
before.
I will join that riot down there in Texas.
I can't remember what year it was, but Ohio State was sitting at number 4, and they were making they were doing their final picks for the college football playoffs. Ohio State was sitting at number 4, and they passed up Ohio State and picked who was at number 5. There's a potential it could happen, because when the committee looks at it, they're going to say strength of schedule. Then they're also going to say, which TCU has had a pretty decent schedule. I can't fault them for the schedule that they've had. But you see
can only
who they
play the
played.
Games you're handed. You can only play the games
exactly.
you're handed.
Yeah, exactly. But when they say, all right, who's better, TCU or Ohio State? If you put them on an even playing field, Ohio State's win that game 10 times out of 10. And you cannot convince me.
You know what? How about we just put every undefeated team in the top 4? Jackson State, I'm putting your name in there. Shadur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, Travis Hunter, Kevin Coleman, Deion Sanders. Take your squad, go to the college football playoffs, and let me see it. I think they would put up a decent fight.
They would put up a fight, okay? They would put up a fight, but if you put them up against an SEC team, that's a wrap.
It's the SEC. Come on. We got the dogs. We got the dogs in us.
SEC is the top. They're the top. They're the pinnacle of college football. And, you can't say otherwise. Anybody that says, oh, no, it's the Big 10, or no, it's the Big 12, or no, it's the Pac.
Well, yeah, I mean, Georgia's clearly the number 1 team in the nation. And for all the Georgia listeners out there, I'm starting to pick up a new language, so you might understand this one. The dogs, go dogs. You want
me to toss you a bone?
Oh man, you Georgia fans are wild, man.
There's a chance that Ohio State gets in.
There's a chance. So there's a chance that Coastal Carolina gets in if the committee allows it.
But look, all of this in 2 years is going to be a problem of the past, because we're going to be moving into a 12-team playoff system, which I think is a little aggressive.
I think 8 would have been a better
I think
selection.
6 to 8 teams would have been good.
Because now with 12, it's pointless for bowl games at this point.
Yeah.
So.
No, well, yeah, I mean, kind of.
If you're not making the playoffs, half all your good players are going to be like, yo, I'm either out transferring or I'm going to hit the NFL draft.
Well, so if we look at it this way, most of these players that go into a bowl game that's not in the top 4 for a playoff game, they're already sitting out anyways. Or they hit the transfer portal early, or the coach leaves, or something happens. It's already happening right now. So expanding it to 12 teams will minimize the amount of players that sit out, because if they're like, all right, so this game means we continue in the playoffs or we go home packing, every single player on that team is going to play.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. Whether they're declaring for the draft or not, there's a chance of that championship. So it reduces the amount of players that are going to drop out, which I understand why players do that, but I hate it at the same time. You played this whole season, and it used to be, okay, we still have a shot at going out and winning a ring in this bowl game. Let's go out and kill it, But now it's like, oh, we're playing in the Charmin toilet paper bowl game out in Wyoming or something. Players are like, I'm going to pass on that, and I'm going to get ready for the draft.
I could see if the players made some money off it, but at the end of the day, the bowl games, the money just goes back to the school. So, I mean, and then the coaches, when they get a little bit extra, like a little bonus.
Yeah. And that's why I understand it, because there's not much in it for the players. They've already they're not going to prove anything more in one single game at the end of the season than they have the entire season.
They can't risk
injury. Why risk injury when you're about to declare for the draft? Hendon Hooker
or transfer.
was.
If you're planning on transferring,
exactly. So I get it, but I hate it. As a fan of football, I want to see the team go out there and play their best football. But I understand not wanting to hurt yourself and drop your stock in the draft.
So, who is? This before we move on, I want to know who is your top 4 for the college football playoffs. Like, who do you think is your 4?
I hate to say it, but I'm gonna have to stick with what it is. Because
even if
like you said,
TCU loses, you can play that factor in. Say TCU loses.
So if
your top 4 best teams.
If TCU loses, I have Georgia. I have. I'm gonna slide Ohio State in. I'm gonna bump TCU out, and I'm gonna push Ohio State in. They're gonna take the 4 spot. USC takes the 3 spot. Michigan at 2. And then Georgia at 1. That's what I would do.
So we play this scenario. USC loses, TCU loses. Then you got people pushing Alabama, and even Alabama lost to LSU, but obviously LSU dropped. And then Clemson's not even sniffing the college football playoffs.
No, Clemson's not even a factor in this at this point. So, all the top 6 teams could lose, and Clemson's still not a factor in this, in my opinion.
So do you think, because there's going to be SEC bias, but do you think, a lot of people are going to say Bama's better than TCU. But if TCU has 1 loss and Alabama has 2, and they're not even in the championship game,
so this is my thing: if a team has 2 losses, they should automatically be disqualified from the college football playoffs. But with that said, it's Alabama, SEC team. The committee loves Alabama; they love SEC teams. So I think if USC TCU loses, that is a clear and open path for Alabama to scoot in at the number 4 spot.
Okay. My top 4, I said I'd leave it as now. I think even if TCU takes the L, and then even if USC takes the L, USC's at 4. So, but here's the difference. I would keep TCU and even with an L as long as it's not a blowout. But if USC loses, I could see Ohio State sneaking back in. Just because the Big Ten is obviously a better group or a better conference than the Pac-12. Pac-12 you got like Oregon and UCLA, but that's it. And none of those teams are sniffing, what Michigan is. So then I would put Ohio State in for USC if USC loses to, I believe they're playing Utah in the Pac-12 championship. That's what I would do. But I'm gonna.
So this is my
Frog
thing.
Nation, I am standing with you. Okay, come after Taylor. Don't come after me. I am standing with you.
This is my thing. So at the beginning of the season, we both say this is the loss counts, or when you lose a game is extremely important. If you're going to lose a game, lose it at the beginning of the season. Because when it comes down to where we're at now, if TCU loses, they have to drop at least 2 spots, in my opinion. I know Ohio State got blown out.
Oh, they're 3. So I guess 5. I got you. I was like, maybe push them like 6 or 7.
No, so Ohio State was number 2 and lost to the number 3 team, and they dropped all the way to number 5.
But they got blown out.
TCU is going to play number 10 Kansas State with 3 losses. If they lose to that team, they have to drop at least 2 to 3 spots.
No, not. Unless it's a blowout. Unless it's a blowout. No.
A 3-loss team beats an undefeated team. They have to drop at least 2 to 3 spots.
Who says Taylor? Taylor? That's what Taylor said?
If Ohio State, a undefeated team, loses to another undefeated team who's in the top 4 of the college football playoffs, gets bumped down 3 spots. A TCU team who loses to a 3-loss team who's number 10, not in the top 4, has to drop at least 2 or 3 spots this late in the season.
All I'm going to say is we shall see.
And TCU wouldn't have a conference championship, so technically they automatically have to be out if that's the case.
All I'm going to say is we will see. All right? But I think TCU
I don't think TCU is going to lose. I don't think they're going to lose. That I want to make that clear. I don't think TCU is going to lose to Kansas State at all. I don't think
the only team that's going to drop potentially is USC if they lose, because they're right on the fringe. I don't
see USC losing to Utah. Utah also has 3 losses. and USC has, in my opinion, the Heisman Trophy winner this season by far. After what I saw this past weekend, and Lincoln Riley, what I saw this past weekend, without a doubt, he's the Heisman Trophy winner.
He is phenomenal.
Can't convince me otherwise.
Phenomenal.
So I can't see them losing to Utah. A 3-loss Utah team, it doesn't make sense to me for them to lose. I can't see that happening.
I got you. Yeah, I still think it's going to be USC, like you said. TCU. I think what we have now is the final. I mean, that's it. Everyone else is
and unless some teams lose, but I don't. I mean, I don't see Georgia losing to LSU. I don't see USC losing to Utah. I don't see TCU losing to Kansas State, and I don't see Michigan losing to Purdue, who has 4 losses.
Hey, so. Purdue last year was the playoff killer, so watch out.
Which is wild to me, the way that this stuff works out, that Michigan is playing Purdue in the championship game. It should just be a rerun of Ohio State and Michigan.
That's what I'm saying. So we talked about this last episode as far as like when the SEC comes in with Texas and Oklahoma, they're just going to make it the SEC, and you're going to make your schedule, and the top 2 teams play each other regardless.
Yeah, that's how it should be because Michigan versus Purdue for the SEC championship
Big Ten
is laughable. Big Ten, sorry, is absolutely laughable to me. Because that is, I mean,
the 3 best teams in the Big Ten are on the same conference in Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. Every other team is hogwash, at least this year. Yeah. So it's like Ohio State would dominate in the other division.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so maybe remix the, spice it up a little bit, take some dice and go, okay, you're going to go in this division, we're going to switch it up a little bit.
I think it should just be straight up like what SEC is going to do, what the Big 12 does. It's just straight up whoever's at the top's at the top, and then everybody trickles down with their records.
Now, I don't know if you heard about it. With the new 12-man playoff being enacted in 2024, Notre Dame and UConn cannot make the college football playoffs.
Good.
One of the stipulations is you have to go to a conference championship game. It doesn't matter if you lose it, but you have to go, and they're not in a conference; they're non-conference. So, do you think, and that
I thought that was already a rule?
No, it's not. But with this 12-team expansion, it is now a rule. So, do you think that Notre Dame finally enters the Big Ten with Ohio State and Michigan? They take the other side where Purdue's at?
I mean, it's going to force their hand to join somewhere. I don't know where.
It's going to hurt recruiting if you go to recruit and go, you can't make the
You're not going to get anyone
game. But
that automatically. So the only thing people are chasing now is that championship. That's it. Nobody cares about bowl games. That's out the window.
Which means Notre Dame and UConn can only ever, if they don't join a conference, can only ever get as high as number 13 in the nation. Because if you 12, you're in the conference champion, or you're in the playoffs, so you can only technically be as high as 13. You've already limited yourself.
They can rank them higher, but they just can't put them into a game. They'd have to replace them with somebody, and then somebody who's below. The committee.
Yeah, which would hurt the integrity of.
The integrity of the college football playoffs process is already out the window. That's the thing of the past.
SEC,
I
SEC.
am looking at the rankings rules real quick. Because I could have sworn that you had to win a conference championship or play in one.
Well, Notre Dame almost went to the college football playoffs. Was it last year over Cincinnati or 2 years ago? Can't remember who, but they almost made the playoffs a couple years ago. That's the only reason why I say that. But I know, just seeing on Twitter today, they put it out, hey, you got to be in a conference championship.
Let's see. I'll look this up later. I just wanted to see it for myself.
This got to be like the NCAA's way of grabbing Notre Dame and UConn by the balls and going, hey, we've got you. Make up your mind. Join a conference.
Oh, absolutely. and they should join a conference. They should not be able to slide by with not having to play a conference championship game and still be able to compete.
Pick and choose games that they want to play.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we're going to go on to this transfer portal has been kind of crazy. Obviously, we have couple big names. DJ hasn't announced that today was a day for graduate transfers. DJ, I can't say his last name. The quarterback for Clemson, DJ. No slight. I apologize. But do you see him potentially transferring, or do you think he's going to stay put? And he's going to have to play another year. He can't go pro. Just he hasn't put up the tape for that.
Well,
you put Cade in at Clemson, and he's okay with riding bench.
I will go ahead and say I think this is going to move into something else I think we're going to talk about. But I think he goes all over to the University of Florida.
No, you don't do that to me, young man. The reason why I say that is because Drake May of UNC has reportedly been thinking and talking to his parents and people around him about entering the portal as well, and UF being one of his potential destinations. So you do not put DJ. The two Carolina quarterbacks, Clemson or UNC, I'm taking Drake May.
I would take Drake May also.
Yeah. So
that would be a tough grab though for you guys.
Yeah. I don't know. We have no receivers, and our offensive line are all going to the NFL, and
we got nothing going on right now.
We're in complete rebuild mode. No, I think if we're gonna get a quarterback in the transfer portal, it's gonna be Hartman from Wake Forest, someone who's about 30 years old. But
you guys are having. It's not like a mirrored season, but it's starting to pan out a lot like Oklahoma with how many people are dipping out, and then now you guys are left with, virtually no quarterback right now.
Yeah, Max Brown,
which is huge.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. That's a big thing for a lot of these big, say Drake May, who was like, "Hey, I want to make sure I'm guaranteed to start wherever I'm going." Florida, right now, they only have Max Brown, who is a borderline 3-star recruit on the roster, thanks to the Jalen Kitna situation, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. It could be intriguing. Now, I do think that the Florida Gators, if we're going to kind of sidebar and talk about them, I think they believe in Rashada, but it's a big thing to put a lot of pressure to put on a freshman quarterback. Obviously, we saw Drake May do it as a freshman at UNC. I think UNC has a little bit of a roster right now in a weaker conference. But this upcoming class, and hit the transfer portal pretty hard in the positions that you need, you could fill it and make a nice little roster. So I think if you're a quarterback transfer, you see Florida, it could be intriguing because you don't have to worry about battling.
I don't know if you saw this.
Saw what?
I just saw it, but Dakotas Crawford is hitting the transfer portal. I did not see that.
Yep.
I did not see that. That was a shock to me.
Committed to LSU. I could see him going back to LSU. He was committed there for a while since he was sophomore in high school. He's from Louisiana. I could see him flying back to Louisiana to go be back home since Nebraska hired Matt Rule and fired the coach that recruited him. So, which tends to happen with recruits. You commit to a coach, that coach gets fired, and then you're like, okay, I want to go somewhere else because, as we can see with Florida, with a lot of our players are transferring, is because say with Billy Napier wants his guys in the room, not Dan Mullins and previous coaching staff, especially when those guys don't buy in. So it could be just a nice fresh restart. That's one good thing about the transfer portal is that it's a nice restart. I saw a statistic that annually it's usually 2,000 to 3,000 college kids, D1, P5, enter the transfer portal, and only 40% of them find a landing spot for the next season. That's wild.
I believe that.
That is.
If you go through the list, that 24/7 Sports has, just from not even a couple of days ago, I am scrolling, and I'm still within 2 weeks or a week and a half or whatever it is, and it is insane with the amount of players that are on this list.
A lot of good talent out there.
Oh, there are so many 4-star recruit or players that are on here. It's insane.
And it's every 5-star that committed to Jimbo down there at Texas A&M has decided to enter the transfer portal. Tumi's Adilai was a 5-star defensive end. I probably butchered your name, but
you definitely did.
Yeah, definitely did. He entered the transfer portal. That was speculated. He was the number 3 defensive end in the 2021 class. You have, Texas A&M is a laundry list. Larry Johnson Jr., etc. at running back. They've been kind of gutted. Now I want to raise that question to you now. When you're talking about the transfer portal, has NIL and the transfer portal hurt high school kids as far as recruiting goes? Because now you can go to people who've been proven, and you don't have to worry about, will this high school kid do well in college? Or
it definitely has.
And then has it gone to the point where, okay, these high school kids coming out of high school are going to take the biggest amount of money, wait one season, then transfer out now that they have their bag, then go to the school that they originally wanted to attend? And before I let you take over, Texas A&M players, a multitude of them, retweeted and liked the tweet of someone saying we got our bag and we want to go to the school that we originally wanted to go to after leaving Texas A&M. So the floor is yours on that one.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what the players are doing. I mean, Ewers even came out and said that straight out of high school he was offered $1 million to go to Ohio State, knowing full well he wasn't going to start.
Yeah.
Took the money, did his season as a bench rider, and then boom, Texas, and now he's a starter. And now he's $1 million richer. Why wouldn't you?
And he's about to get
if that is on the table. Yeah, if that is on the table and I'm able to snag a quick $1 million and then go to a better school.
It's a small loan of $1 million.
Better believe it. Yeah. Small loan of $1 million.
It's huge.
You better believe it. Deal. Yeah, I think it's NIL has I'm not going to say corrupted, but it's definitely impacted the game of football and where these players are going. It's no longer about passion. Like, man, I grew up an Oklahoma fan. Oklahoma gave me an offer. I'm going to Oklahoma. Straight up.
Like everybody else. Coaches, yeah. It's more like how much money you're going to give me. And we've seen that with now sometimes as long as the money's semi close. We saw that with Jaden, circling back to Florida. Jaden Rashada, who originally committed to Miami on a big time NIL deal. One of the reasons why he went to Miami was because of the money. Then he saw how the season was going. Florida offered him similar money, not as much as Miami, similar money, but he trusts Billy. So he was like, you know what? I'll take the couple $1 million less than what Miami was offered, which is crazy because I think Miami was offering him like $11 million and Florida offered him $7 million, which as a 18-year-old kid, that's insane. But and then just having a better opportunity to win a natty because that was big for him. So I think as long as the money's close, some of these recruiting battles are going to be a little tighter. But if, say Oklahoma goes, hey, we want you, Rashada, we'll give you $1 million, and Miami's going, I'll give you 11. Like, you're going to Miami, rather you want to be in Miami.
Yeah, I'm taking that 11.
Yeah,
yep. I'm taking that 11. I mean, financially, it'd be stupid not to. I mean, the game of football is not guaranteed. You could go out there and play your first game, snap your leg, and you're done.
Yeah.
But guess what? You got $11 million in the bank.
There are, I believe, for Power 5, there are 5,000 to 6,000 kids playing Power 5 right now, and then there's only 1,000 in the NFL playing, and only 300 or was it 257 or whatever it is for the NFL draft get selected. So get your money. I like that portion of NIL. These kids that maybe might not make it get a chance to earn a little bit of money and get that brand deal, get that brand new car paid for, maybe set up their families and stuff like that. But it has turned into the wild, wild west as far as recruiting and the transfer portal goes.
I do think this is what I think. I think it needs to be regulated. I kind of think right now it's just an open door to kind of, throw out however much money you have to spare and hope you land something big. I think it needs to be regulated too. There's a cap, and that cap is $750,000. You cannot offer anything more. That's a lot of money to give
a kid, man.
That's a lot of money, but if you look at, I mean, you look at Ewers, he got $1 million to ride the bench at Ohio State. That's ridiculous. It should be 750. That's why that way these smaller schools have an opportunity to get these good college players by the they ran out of their NIL money, or they can't offer anybody else any more money.
Yeah.
But guess what? You come down here and play with us at this small school. We'll give you $750,000.
So here's the only problem I'd see running into that is this NIL money doesn't come from the school. It comes from boosters and collectives, like people, donating and whatnot. That's where these schools are getting their funds. Like Miami has John Ruiz, Florida has the Gator Collective, and a bunch of other schools have their own collectives or their own big-time boosters dumping money into the program. So now you're telling these people what to do with their money and how much to spend. And I can see people kind of getting mad, like, oh, if I want to give this kid $2 million, it's my own prerogative. It's my money. You can't be like, well, $750,000 is a limit. So
yeah.
You can run into that. I still think there should be a limit. I agree with you because this is you got to even the playing field somehow, and then hurt transfers.
I mean, the NCAA is going to find a way to regulate it because they regulate everything. They regulated food. Coaches can't give candy out to kids. That was a thing. Like there was a kid on 4 or 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, somebody was on the sideline and one of the coaches was giving Skittles out to one of the players, and I'm pretty sure they got fined for doing that, which is stupid to me. If I want to throw some cheeseburgers to my offensive line, I'm getting them a double quarter pounder with bacon, double cheese, you name it, whatever they want. I'm feeding them boys. Where do I sign? Screw the NIL money.
Coach, I got a cramp. Why? You gave me a double quarter pounder before halftime, man. Ain't got no time to settle.
Hey, those offensive linemen and the defensive linemen, they get fed like you wouldn't believe. I watched a video. It was a day in the life of an offensive lineman, and college football was a D2 school. But he woke up and he had 15 strips of bacon, 5 eggs, toast,
that cholesterol, man,
a protein shake, and then he went and worked out. Then he had a snack, which was a full-blown meal. Then he had lunch, which was another full-blown meal. Then another snack, which is another meal.
Big boys.
Then he had I'm telling you, man. But then they run these kids ragged. That's why if you see a lot of these offensive linemen that retire from the NFL, and then they just within 3 years they're completely jacked, it's because they're no longer eating that food that's getting stuffed down their face.
Yeah.
So basically what I'm saying is if anybody wants an offensive lineman, let me know.
Taylor is out there. He's 6'3". He's he's got injuries around the ankles, but he's working on it day to day.
We can wrap him up.
He is questionable. His technique might not be sound.
Day-to-day.
He's a very raw talent. But coaches, if you're looking
raw.
If you're looking for a center or a guard, or maybe even a defensive lineman, he's your guy.
Yep, you let me know.
Yeah, and I'm like Devontae Smith playing tight end. You see that image of him playing tight end?
No.
They had that man Smitty in a 3-point stance, bro.
I gotta look that up. That is pure gold.
Yeah, it's
man.
It was great. My man was
Did he pick up a block?
I couldn't tell you. I think he went out for a route, but
yeah, okay. I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope they weren't having that man pick up a block.
They're like, just get in the way. I don't care how you do it. Just get in the way.
Just throw yourself. I don't care what you do. Just do it.
Yeah. So we will talk about this Jalen Kitna situation that has Florida in a bind. Obviously, they had Florida's been in the news recently as of late with former recruit Marcus Stokes. And that situation, now they're in the news again with Jalen Kitna, the son of John Kitna, former Detroit Lions quarterback, getting arrested today for child pornography distribution. And this is what he told the cops. I found it on the internet, and so I thought it was illegal. And this is grotesque. This is absolutely has no reflection on UF, Billy Napier, or any coaches. It doesn't have a reflection on his dad. It's a complete reflection on him. These are screenshots. Some of the reports saying that he took the actual photos, and these are not a night. Everyone thought, I was on the thing of it could be a girlfriend in high school. Maybe he's 19. He could be dating a 16 or 17. Guys, these are apparently pictures of 16 and below that he distributed. He's facing 10 to 13 years. He's out on plea. His dad paid $80,000 to get him out, but he's not allowed to be on the internet per his bond agreement, and he is not allowed to go anywhere near a child or a minor until his trial, which they haven't set a date for his trial, but until then, he's basically no internet, no nothing. these acts are egregious, and again, they do not reflect on the University of Florida, but Florida obviously is in controversy with this. He's tied to the name. He was part of the program. They have since dismissed him. There's no joking matter. I know I kind of made the slight joke before, but this is serious. And Taylor, I want to have your, obviously, you're probably going to agree with me on that. But for a 19-year-old kid, had everything in his hands in his world to do this, completely shatter his future over something like, if you want to look at that stuff, there's plenty of it out there as far as for adult stuff. You don't need to go towards kids. That's ridiculous. And he should be buried under the prison, in my opinion. I'll take the floor from that.
Yeah, his excuse of it was on the internet, I thought it was illegal, whatever. There's common sense that each and every single human being is instilled with from the day of birth. You know what is right and you know what is wrong, and finding something on the internet just because it's there does not make it legal, and you need to use your judgment that we all know he has to say, this is disgusting, this is wrong, and this is foul, and I should most likely report it or say something, not screenshot it and then send it to your friends or people you communicate with. If somebody sends me something like that on my phone, the amount of anger that would run through my body is indescribable. And I tell you this, the cops would not be the first people to find out about this. They would find out about me driving to this person's place, and then they would figure out what happened after that.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. I feel sorry for the University of Florida. I feel sorry for his family. I feel sorry for whoever's child that was that he distributed that image of. I feel sorry for his former teammates. I feel sorry for anybody that is in his life. I hope every single person cuts ties with him, including his family, because there is absolutely zero excuse for vile acts like that.
Yeah.
And I hope he gets the maximum sentence, and I hope he does not get parole, and I hope he rots in jail.
Yeah, I agree. Now that with this Jalen Kitna situation, we just said it. Rashada and Max Brown will be the only if AR-15 goes to the league, which apparently there's reports that he cleaned out his locker. That's his plans. He doesn't plan on playing in the bowl game. He's preparing for the draft. That's reports. Obviously, I don't want to say that's guaranteed. It hasn't come out yet, so anyone don't crucify me. He could be coming back for another year. Just reports as what happened. That leaves Florida next year without a transfer quarterback. They have Rashada and Max Brown. Rashada obviously highly touted. He's 6'2", 175 pounds. He needs to put some weight on his, obviously meat on his bones before he joins the SEC. Florida's going to have to get a transfer quarterback. I think Rashada is a really good quarterback and is the quarterback of that future. But if they don't get a transfer quarterback, Florida fans, I know you've been harsh on Napier this year, getting everyone out, going 6-6, losing to Vandy. You're going to have to give this man another year after that because DeJon Reynolds transferred. We talked about the transfer portal. We have Justin Shorter going to the league, Xavier Henderson potentially going to the league. Ricky Pearsall, their number one receiver this year. Pretty Ricky could be going to the league. He had a great year. And if AR decides to leave, I don't know if he stays with an unproven quarterback. It makes no sense. Hit the league. He'll probably go around three or four. Still pretty good change of money. So then that leaves the Florida Gators with Jaquavius Frazier's, Chaz, DeMarcus Weston. I think that's like they have like two other receivers that are on the roster now, and then they have obviously a really good recruiting class in Andy Jean, Aiden Menzel, and company as far as coming in for a wide receiver. So they do have a good receiver class. But again, these are all going to be freshmen. So Florida fans, you're going to have to give Napier some time. Of course, they're going to try to hit the portal hard.
Welcome to the life of an Oklahoma fan.
Yeah, but obviously Jalen Kitna, everyone was when he came in against FSU for and he played the limited times. Everyone said Kitna's the future. His only future is in jail, where he should be. Okay. So Florida, that's all I'm saying is sticking my neck out for Nape there. Now, we've talked about the transfer portal. There's a particular prime time coach out there that might be dipping his toes into other schools, P5 schools, including Colorado and UCF. Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is considering Colorado and UCF. Those are the two teams right now that are kind of in the running. Now, reports are of an hour ago said that if he goes to UCF, he's already talked to them. He says, I want hand-picked. They're building a new facility down there at UCF. He says, if I come in and I agree to your coach, I don't care what schematics you have right now, I want to be able to hand-pick in my facility that I'm going to be recruiting with. So where do you think that he goes P5, or do you think he stays at Jackson State for at least one more year before maybe a bigger name opens up? Because there could always be a bigger school out there other than Colorado and UCF. Obviously, those are decent schools, but they're not like a Florida State, Oklahoma kind of name.
Yeah.
Do you think he stays at Jackson State, or do you think he dips?
I personally think he stays at Jackson State because prime time ain't in this for the money. Prime time's in this to give back to kids. They may not have the opportunities that others have. And he has been adamant about letting every single person know how passionate he is about coaching that team. I find it hard for me to believe that he would go to Colorado or to Central Florida or wherever, what other teams are. South Florida. I find it hard. I think he's going to stay at Jackson State. I think that's where, he's thriving. I mean, the amount of press that team's getting is insane because, before this, somebody was like,
they're on
Jackson
ESPN
State
now, which is crazy.
Yeah. You like Jackson State. You're like, huh? Who, what, where? Yeah. Who's that? They're out there now. When somebody says Jackson State, you're like, oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I think he stays. I'm pretty sure they've had back-to-back undefeated seasons. May even be more than that.
They won the championship last year, but this is their first undefeated season with the championship.
Yeah. So championship, now undefeated season, most likely going to be another championship season for him.
Yeah.
I think he stays, honestly. If he does go to Colorado or somewhere else, they're going to have to pay that man some filthy money to get him to come in. And if it is true that he says, I want to handpick my facility, I want to make it mine. I want to make sure that when I come there, it's everything that I want it to be. Whatever school he told that to, if I were them,
that's South
Florida. I would absolutely make it happen.
And I think another intriguing thing for this is right now he coaches his son, former 4-star, was a Florida State commit at one point. Tailor Sanders. He's played lights out, by the way, at quarterback down there at Jackson State. He's got Travis Hunter. He's got Kevin Coleman, another 4-star receiver. He's got a couple big names that he's able to pull. His son Shiloh Sanders transferred in from USC, South Carolina, but although I think Shiloh stays down at Jackson State. If Shadur does not enter the NFL draft and his dad takes another job, I think whatever school his dad goes to, they're getting Kevin Coleman, Travis. They're getting not only the coach, they're getting the star quarterback, the 2-star receivers / corners, and whatever other pick. Because a lot of these people went to Jackson State simply for Deion. Yeah. So they're going to get loaded up.
Yeah, it's just going to be like Caleb Williams following Lincoln. He liked the way that Lincoln was coaching him and the opportunities he gave him. It's going to be the same thing. They play, Deion Sanders gave me these opportunities. Where he's going, I'm going.
Yeah.
And Deion's going to be like, yep, you got a scholarship.
Yeah.
He's going to make it happen.
I personally, if I'm Deion, I would prefer the UCF job. South Florida, I just think Florida's probably a better state than and his swagger fits more of South Florida. Colorado doesn't really have that swagger.
Colorado is so dull.
Yeah, and they came off one of the worst seasons. UCF did too. They were one of the worst teams, but if I'm Deion, I'm going somewhere where prime time could be more logical, and that'd be UCF, especially if I can handpick. And then he's probably thinking about his son. What's going to look better for his son going to the NFL? Would that be UCF or Colorado. Again, I would stay at Jackson State and then wait for a bigger team to open up if I'm Deion Sanders. But Nebraska just hired Matt Rule.
What?
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, they did.
That's why Dakota Crawford.
I forgot all about that.
Out. Yeah. My man.
Yeah, I forgot they had to. I completely forgot about that because they haven't signed the deal with him yet because they still have to do like some negotiations with the Carolina Panthers because of the whole firing and the paying and all that stuff. I completely forgot about that.
That's where, like I said, I think Deion should stay at Jackson State unless he can get a better P5. So we've talked.
I would say Auburn, but too late for that.
Auburn got who they get? Hugh Freeze from Liberty,
yep.
And the way he recruits is apparently he goes up to recruits and he says, "Let me see your ankles."
Yeah, let me see them ankles. They got skinny ankles. I know they're athletic.
Yeah, that's wild. But speaking of that, FAU, before we get into our game picks, FAU fires Willie Target, the head coach. And then a couple hours later, wishes Willie Target III a happy birthday, who is currently a defensive back for them. Imagine, like, Dad lost his job. Happy birthday to me.
Yeah, it's nothing personal, So
imagine if
kind of messed up,
He's named after his dad, who just got fired. It's like Willie Target's fired. By the way, his son, happy birthday, Willie Target.
Here's a great gift for you.
Yeah,
your dad's gone.
Merry Christmas.
So messed up.
It's just the fact that they didn't they just hours apart. Like they didn't fire his dad after the dude's birthday or anything. They're like, we're gonna fire him the same day as your birthday. That's our gift to you, a new coach.
They could have done it after. They'd be like, happy birthday, and then the next day be like, this is awkward, but your dad gone.
Yeah. So I just thought that was kind of like a funny little headline that I saw scrolling through Twitter. All right, so let's get to these game picks, guys, before we get into the NFL and talk about that. Obviously, there's a current game going on. We both predicted the Bills. We'll look at the score before we go into the NFL. But we're going to predict these college games, these championship games. Taylor, do you got USC or Utah?
I have USC.
I have USC as well. Do you have TCU or Kansas State?
TCU.
TCU as well. LSU dropped to 14. That's wild. LSU or Georgia?
No, what's wild is that Kansas State with 3 losses is ranked at 10. That's absurd.
LSU has 3 losses too, but
14's a fairly decent spot for a 3-loss team.
It is a decent.
But top 10?
There's been a lot of bad teams this year as far as taking out.
That's true.
Do you have Georgia or
LSU?
A weird season.
LSU. Psych! Georgia.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Dogs. Woo-woo. The only time I'll ever do that. UCF or Tulane?
I'll take Tulane.
All right, I'm liking Tulane as well. They rode with us on Twitter, so we're going to ride with them to the end of the season. Then we got Purdue versus Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan. Then we have number 9, Clemson versus North Carolina.
North Carolina.
I'm going Clemson that game. But I do like North Carolina. I just think Clemson's a slightly better, more like an older and more experienced team.
No, agreed. That one, I just dislike Clemson and the fact that they've been ranked so high.
Yeah, they've been washed. All right, so Taylor, while you look up the score to this game, I'm gonna remind everybody that this is The Booth with Tailor and Brandon. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Hit that bell. We're gonna start posting clips to our YouTube as far as from the show. That way you don't have to scroll over to the live. But if you're looking for our past episodes, go to the live section on our YouTube. That's where you'll find them. And make sure you follow us on Spotify. We've seen a giant increase on Spotify numbers, so we appreciate everybody out there on Spotify. Much love. And make sure you follow us on Twitter as well and TikTok under The Booth. And again, this is The Booth with Tailor and Brandon. All right, what's that score, Taylor?
The Bills are up 17-7.
All right, looks like we're expert predictors.
Yes, we are. And just so everybody knows, whenever we picked our or gave our predictions, New England was up 7-3. So
look at that. We are Notre Dame's. All right.
And Stephon Diggs has got me 12.5 points already. So
there you go.
I'm living the good life right now.
Speaking of the Patriots, I don't know if you saw this. Tom Brady's on a contract here. He's thinking about going back to the Patriots. Imagine Mac Jones sitting there. He's already fighting for his life.
Punching air. Oh.
My man already has to fight off the Bailey Zappi comments. Now he's going to have to sit behind Tom Terrific Brady. And it's like you were drafted to be his replacement just for him to come. It's like, hey, the last guy we had was really great. He's moved on to a different company. We see a lot of potential in you. The other guy comes back. Hey, I might want to come back to the company. You're like,
back again.
You know, you were in position of CEO. We're going to move you down to assistant. Okay?
No.
Make sure you get the coffees. All right.
I don't see that happening. Tom Brady has said multiple times that one of the main reasons he left was there's two things: his tiffs with Bill Belichick, and he absolutely despises the cold weather. That man is down there living Viva la whatever down there
retire,
in Florida.
So, about 15 years.
Okay, yeah. All right, never mind. I was going to say that man openly said retirement is nowhere near in my future. I mean, what else has he got to do? He has no wife to go home to.
Talking about kicking a man when he's down, man.
It's a fact. And
he also has to pay
He's been playing better now, so.
He's been playing a little better. All right. So, with that being said, we'll talk about the, was it Sunday night game? Or no, Monday night game. The Colts.
Yep.
Yeah, the Colts. They had a chance to win against they played the Packers, right? They played the Packers. They had a chance. No, that was the Eagles. We're over here. I'm getting mixed up here. The Colts.
They played the Steelers.
There we go. They had a chance to win, and then they did not take any timeout after a big gain by Matt Ryan, which I've never seen Matt Ryan run that fast. Let me just put that out there. But my man is mad at the ice. It looked like he was skating on ice. I was like, holy crap, is this Lamar Jackson? No, it's not. All right.
Last time we saw him run that fast was to board the plane to get out of Atlanta.
Yeah. So Jeff Saturday is taking somewhat blame, but he said that he had enough time. His original comments were he had enough time. I just want to kind of get your opinion on this Jeff Saturday questionable decisions. And then Kenny Pickett looked really good for Pittsburgh. He's shown signs of being a franchise quarterback. Do you think, obviously it's year one, so obviously he's the franchise quarterback. I mean, you're not looking at another quarterback right now. But I just want to get your thoughts and opinions on Kenny Pickett and that Jeff Saturday timeout kind of situation. He had two timeouts with 50 seconds left and just did not use them. Like he was taking them to go.
Yeah, definitely weird. The one thing that I've always been told, or one thing I've always heard is you can't take these timeouts to go. No matter what, when you leave that game, you better have used every single timeout you have.
Yeah.
Use it for a break. Get your guys some a breather, whatever, a challenge. Use it for clock management. Whatever it is, use your timeouts. You've been given them for a reason. Don't go home with them. I think this plays into the fact that he's never coached a single day in his life. I know that was one of the big issues when he was hired on. I think this is just a part of the learning curve for somebody who's never been in this position. I think it is true that he does know the game of football. I think there is some potential for him to succeed. I just think that he needs to surround himself with some pieces that say, hey, coach, you might want to call a timeout right now. But it's a learning thing for him.
Yeah.
In the moment, he may have been like, we got this. I don't need the timeouts. Or he may have not even known how much time was left in the game. I don't know. I wasn't there.
As head coach, you should not be able to say that.
No, true.
I
but
think
like
that's
going
to make the chirping louder of he was not qualified. He is 1-2, but as a head coach so far. But yeah, if he came out and said, I didn't know how much time was on the clock. That's gonna be screaming.
Yeah, I don't know what the situation is. I'm just, if that was the case, whatever. It's a learning curve for sure. It's a lot of pressure to be given the keys to a franchise out of thin blue air and then have to go on and play these primetime games. There could have been a lot of pressure that just caused him to not use the timeouts. I don't know. hopefully he fixes it, because I'd hate to see somebody take this risk and then fumble it so hard, because then all the chirping and everything, it's just going to have a lot of fire behind it. Hopefully he succeeds, regardless of the situation. Whoever gets the job like that, I hope they always succeed. That way we can be like, look, they made the right decision. I don't know why we have to bring in all these different viewpoints left and right that are unnecessary. So that's all I'll say on that one. I would have used the timeouts. And I've never coached a single game in my entire life. Kenny Pickett. I think that was his third or fourth straight game without fumbling or throwing an interception.
Yep.
Which is impressive. I will give him that. I think Kenny Pickett has some flair to him that's going to blossom and then like next year or so. I think that the pieces around him need to get better for him to succeed. Like
George Pickens. George Pickens is a diamond.
He is, but he drops too many passes. He can make the most phenomenal play. I mean, he can catch a ball that no other person could ever even imagine.
He was tearing that Colts defense up, though. I mean,
yeah,
he was.
And then two plays later, you'll hit him right on the chest, drops it.
Yeah, but that happens to be like a Steelers thing. They got Deontay Johnson, who's a good receiver who has drop problems. Jace Claypool,
and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The pieces around him, if they can get that together where, it's like one dropped pass a game, one drop pass, cool, whatever. 3 and up, it's a little scary because that drop pass could then turn into an interception, and then that turns into 6 points, and then 7 with a field goal. It's too dangerous for a young quarterback like that to have those pieces around him that are not solidly catching passes all the time. It's like, all right, he's going to make this insane catch, and then 2 plays later, he's going to drop a touchdown pass.
Yeah.
I mean, what George Pickens has done, he was wide open in the end zone like 3 weeks ago, dropped the pass wide open, and then dropped 2 more after that. But Pickett is good. Pickens is good. Najee Harris is good. The Steelers have a solid team.
No, Najee
Harris, he was terrible at the beginning of the season.
He was. When they played the Eagles, he literally just sat there. He could have had a first down, which could have potentially helped him win the game. Stutter step, try to juke Ghost out, and then waited for the Eagles defenders just to get him. Yeah. But I think he is a solid. I don't think he's a top running back. I think he's a solid running back. I think he's not top 10. I think there's probably about 13 other running backs that would take over Najee. But he's a solid piece, a young piece for that Steelers team.
Yeah, I think fix the dropped pass situation and get Najee Harris a little more engaged and get him out of whatever funk he is in, because he was a lot better last year than he is this year. So I don't know what's going on with him, but I definitely think Kenny Pickett's got a bright future. It is weird, though, that he wears gloves. I don't like quarterbacks that wear gloves. It's just weird.
You know why he does that, right?
Small hands, man.
No, they asked him about it, and so in college he didn't wear gloves. In high school he wore gloves one game, and then college he didn't wear.
Balled out,
and then he wore it one game, and he balled out. It was in like the wet. It was like wet or rainy or whatever, and he balled out. And then he went to like a one glove kind of system, and then I think it was cold, so he put another glove on, balled out, and the coach goes, "Why don't you just play with 2 gloves?" Like,
yeah.
So then kind of just
I saw the thing where he's like, if it's wet, rainy, and cold, he'll use like just a standard leather glove. But if it's like really dry outside, he'll use a wide receiver glove.
Yeah.
I mean, that gives him an advantage.
Somewhat. I mean, how sticky these gloves are now makes it kind of.
Yeah, like when you're in the pocket and you're getting pressured and you got wide receiver gloves on, that ball ain't coming loose.
Yeah. Go Wildcat, you're already ready. You got your gloves on.
Yeah, you're there. Yeah. So I don't know. I think he's got a bright future, though.
I do as well. We'll talk about the Monday night game as well. We'll talk about the Eagles. Played well. They did beat the God, I'm tired. Who did they play? Why am I having a brain fart? It's literally my team.
What
Packers. The Packers. There you go. The Eagles played the Packers. Aaron Rodgers was hurt his hand prior to the game. Then he got hurt his ribs. Jordan Love came in. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, safety for the Eagles, lacerated kidney. He's out indefinitely, probably be back for the playoffs. Big loss for that secondary, leading the league in interceptions. Are the Eagles the best team in the NFC? And who is another team in the NFC that we should be looking out for that could be potentially battling with them for that Super Bowl run or that playoff push?
I would say yes. Right now, the Eagles are the best team. Following closely behind them, I've got the Vikings with Justin Jefferson. The dude catches everything. That man is single-handedly carrying that entire team to the record that they have this year. Without a shadow of a doubt, it is on him. Everybody's saying,
listen, he's only been shut out once, and that was by Darius Slay. That's all I'm saying.
One time. But I would say the Vikings would really be the only one. I think the Bucs, they are still a threat. I mean, Tom Brady, you can never count Tom Brady out. You can say whatever you want about this season. You can throw any scenario my way. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers are still a threat in the NFC. And if it comes down to it between the Eagles and the Buccaneers, that's a close game. And I would be worried if I'm an Eagles fan. That's all I'm going to say. But those are the only two teams. Maybe the 49ers.
The 49ers, but Jimmy G's been playing pretty decent.
He got hurt. He got hurt.
Yeah, so did Christian McCaffrey. He's on the list already, which we saw that coming. But
hey, don't shoot the messenger. But I said it when they whenever they traded for him.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything serious, but he is on the injury report.
But still, I mean, the dude lives on the IR.
Yeah. So,
but I would say Vikings, 49ers, Bucks. 49ers are kind of iffy because Jimmy G is very inconsistent, but this season he has played pretty well. CMC, his injury, whether or not it's severe or not, whether he gets injured in a game or not, it's kind of 50-50. It's a coin flip if he gets hurt that game. I think they're a quarterback away. If they get a really good quarterback, I would say the 49ers would be the best team in the NFC.
Yeah.
Because they have a dominant defense.
Flag was fly.
And they have so many weapons on offense. Look, I'm a Rams fan, and it absolutely crushes me on the inside to even utter the words that the 49ers are a quarterback away from being the best team in the NFC. Kills me on the inside, but it's true. It's a fact we cannot avoid. It's just there. Everybody says it. They are a quarterback away. You can't tell me if you throw in Josh Allen onto the 49ers that they're the best team in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that Josh Allen,
I mean,
but
come on now.
Yeah, we're playing a game of ifs and buts right now.
I'm saying the Eagles are the best in the NFC.
Listen, I think the only team that could challenge the Eagles right now, I like the Vikings. I do, but I don't trust Kirk Cousins in prime time. He's not that good. Jimmy G, when the lights are on, do I trust him? No. I think he led the team to the Super Bowl, so I cannot take him. I still think 49ers are a good team. I think that Dak right now, since Dak has been back, the Cowboys, have statistically had the number one offense in the league. Now I'm going off eye test because stats can say whatever the stats say. Off eye test, throwing 2 picks, it's not going to help your team. And he's not a take over the game type of quarterback that's going to scare you or anything like that.
No, he's just going to run the ball.
Yeah, Dak Prescott's Dak Prescott. So to me, the 49ers, if everyone's healthy, the Vikings, as long as it's not prime time. But I think right now, like you said, I think it is the Vikings that have the best chance to push the Eagles. They're right on the Eagles' butts. Eagles are 10-1, Vikings are 9-2. So all it takes is Philly to lose one, Vikings to win one. Philly still has a tiebreaker, so Philly would have to lose technically 2 more, and then the Vikings would have to continue to win out for that to be, flip-flop for that number 1 seed. But right now, I think the Eagles are flying high. Jalen Hurts is playing amazing. A.J. Brown is about to have his revenge game against the Tennessee Titans. He's been playing good, although he has some fumbling issues. Smitty's a great tight end, filling in for Dallas Goedert. as a joke. But I think the Eagles are soaring high right now. They do need to fix some issues, though, on their defense. They cannot stop the run, which scares me as an Eagles fan. And if you're an Eagles fan out there, going against King Henry this week against Tennessee, that's going to be a big one. If you have King Henry in your fantasy, you're probably going to get a lot of points. Although Jordan Davis has been cleared from IR to potentially play against the Titans, and when Jordan Davis was playing, the Eagles had a top 5 run defense. So it just all depends on Jordan Davis, which is a pretty big impact for a rookie to have, going from like the number 5 rush defense to like almost dead last just because you got hurt, which is not a good thing either, because that means you have no depth as far as people who can stop the run. But I think the Eagles need to fix that issue as far as stopping the run right now. You can just run down our throats. And I think they're still the number 1 team going into the playoffs.
Agreed.
With that being said, we've talked about the Eagles. We talked about the Colts. We're going to go back to the AFC South. The Jaguars, are they on the right track? It was kind of a gutsy play calling. They came back and won. Doug Peterson got the Jags. Are the Jags on the right track? Does Doug Peterson finally have this team pointing north?
Oh, absolutely. You watched that game, right?
Yeah, I watched that game. Trevor Lawrence balled out.
That was the ball placement.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, I've never seen a more confident quarterback than I did in the last 2 minutes of that game.
And he's been playing pretty good the past couple weeks.
Oh, this season, all in all, compared to last year, completely different player. I mean, they are missing a few key pieces, but I would absolutely 100% say they are on the right track. And they're going to be a good team. There's no doubt in my mind. They have some really good players, and I think that Doug Peterson is really pushing them in the right direction. I think him coming on was probably the best thing that could have happened, because Urban Meyer just absolutely, took the worst situation and you added the worst person into that bad situation, which then made it 10 times worse. And the press coverage was terrible. It takes away the confidence of your number 1 draft pick, because it's like, well, this is the guy who I'm supposed to play for. Whatever, I'm going to go out and try my best, but I'm not going to have the support of my head coach over here. He's going to be drinking at a bar, trying to get with some 21-year-old girl, not worried about me, and then kicking my kicker and all that stuff. But Doug Peterson is a man of the players. He has each and every single player's back. You know that. I know you know that. He looks out for his players, and he's the guy that you want to play for. I mean, regardless of his records or whatever, he's somebody that you want to play for. He motivates you. He's got your back. He's going to look out for your best interests. And I think the Jaguars are on a good path.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I think Urban Meyer has been toxic wherever he's gone. That's clear as day when he's at Florida, when he's at Ohio State.
Jaguars, the bars,
so
his house.
Yeah. And I think this is a big testament to Doug Peterson. People, like you said, people want to play for Doug. Defensive back Andrew Wingard. I don't know if you saw the interview. I'm going to play it through the speaker. I'm not going to pull it up on the show. So if you guys want to watch it, just look it up on Twitter, Andrew Wingard, or just type in Doug Peterson. But this is what he had to say about Urban Meyer and Doug Peterson, and basically the contrast.
So happy for Trevor because, he had to deal with Urban Meyer last year as a rookie, and I don't even know if he had a rookie year. And to see the growth he's made, not just on the field, but just like his preparation, his demeanor, all that. And you knew he's, when the rock breaks, it's not that one chip. It's all the chips that stacked up before that. And I'm so happy for him. That throw on 4th down to Zay was like, I knew we were winning the game. Honestly, like I could feel it. It was so cool.
And then you believed in your coach all that year, and for him to go for 2, what was that like when he does it?
The stones on that guy, it's like, I would die for Doug Peterson, I swear. I would run into battle with Doug Peterson, 100%. I love the guy. And just his attitude, it's like you're 3-7, and it's like, you want to make playoffs and stuff, and it's like he hasn't changed his attitude whatsoever. It's like we come into work, we keep working, and we just keep chipping away, and eventually it's going to pay off, and it did today. And it's like,
all right, so that was just a snippet. If you guys want to watch the entire interview again, go to Twitter or look it up on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find it. But that's kind of a testament. He's saying he would run through a wall with Doug Peterson. Obviously, throwing a shot at Urban Meyer, saying that the stones kind of fell and got chipped away. took away Trevor Lawrence's confidence and stuff like that, which a head coach, he shouldn't be doing that. So, I mean, everyone knows Doug Peterson's a great coach. He won a Super Bowl with Philly for a Super Bowl. Obviously, Philly moved on for whatever reason. But to have the Jags still in high spirits, especially a team that's been bad as of recent for the past couple years, that's something to say, man. When your season's going south, it's easy as a player to feel like I don't feel like playing. I give up. I don't care about the season. But to have someone to have a player and players stand out there and go, this man's got some nads on him, man. He's not afraid to go for it. With the game on the line, 4th down, it doesn't matter. He believes in us, and so we believe in him. That's pretty big testament.
Agreed. It's got to feel good as a head coach to hear that too.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So we talked about Trevor Lawrence is probably the best quarterback out of that draft class. Justin Fields is a nice second. Zach Wilson's way down the list. He's not even on the list. All right, Zach Wilson's on the list. He's out. The only reason why they're still sticking with him is because Mike White was a 5th-round pick and Zach Wilson was the number 2 or number 3, whatever pick.
Yep.
So shout out to the Jaguars. I think you guys are trending upwards. And surprised, Christian Kirk and Zay Jones have actually played pretty well for not having like big names as far as the wide receivers. They've been having stellar seasons.
Christian Kirk, man.
Trevor Etienne,
he's solid.
Travis Etienne, like the good draft picks, man. Good draft picks. Yep. They've been drafting well. We're talking about the quarterback. Pat Mahomes we're going to kind of breach into NFL history. Is Pat Mahomes a top 5 or top 10 quarterback of all time already?
Oh, all time. Top 5?
Just start naming me quarterbacks of all time that you would take over Pat Mahomes. We'll see where you put them. And including Pat Mahomes in there, but who's your number one? Who's your number one?
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. Who's your number 2?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Who's number 3?
Joe Montana.
Joe Montana. So I'm putting him on the spot. So these are reflections. This is what I actually believe. All right. All right. Number 4.
Number 4, Dan Marino.
All right. Number 5.
Number 5, I'd put Drew Brees.
Drew Brees. Okay, over Patty. Number 6.
Yeah. Number 6. Ben Roethlisberger. I'm kidding. Number 6. I already said Dan Marino. Already said that. Number 6.
No Steve Young, John Elway. No Jamarcus Russell or Ryan Leaf.
Definitely not those two. John Elway.
So number 6 is John Elway.
Yeah.
You.
And that means, you can't put Steve Young anywhere past top 10.
Yeah.
Brett Favre, I would put him top 10.
Okay.
He would be 10 for me if I was going to put him in top 10.
He'd be 10. All right. So I would take, off your list, I would take Patrick Mahomes over Favre. I think Favre threw too many interceptions. I think he was a great quarterback. I don't like what he did in the Mississippi situation, but
that I'm not even adding that in because if I'm adding that in, he's off the list completely. Yeah. But if we're talking about we got to base this off of what's already been accomplished, and Patrick Mahomes has accomplished a lot, but he hasn't accomplished enough yet to be considered.
He's already had more rings than Dan Marino.
True, but you have to look at stats across the board. If I'm going to say this, Patrick Mahomes eventually will break top 5. There's no doubt in my mind. If he stays healthy, plays for another couple of years, he breaks in the top 5 with ease. No doubt in my mind. As it sits right now, I cannot say that Patrick Mahomes is top 5 all time.
I would put him top 10 all time, like you said. I think he's sitting at about 7 right now. Like if you just go off raw talent, if you go off raw talent, Pat Mahomes has to be there.
He is one of the
Aaron Rodgers is top 10. Can't forget about
yes, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, he is definitely the purest talent in a quarterback that I've seen, as far as playmaking ability, vision, and all that stuff. There's no other quarterback you can compare Patrick Mahomes to. You can compare him to Michael Vick, but Michael Vick was just a scrambler, and he would get out of the pocket and they'd rush for however many yards. Patrick Mahomes will evade the pressure.
He plays the game like
out of the pocket, and then he'll throw he'll throw a pass from his ankle, and it'll be a 50-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Nobody else has done that. Very few people will do that.
I've done that on Madden.
It's I did that in my backyard today.
Pretty impressive.
No.
Yeah. I would put him about 7 for me.
You could definitely make the argument for top 10. Top 5, I just don't see that yet. Future, absolutely, he's on the path to make top 5.
Okay. Now, I kind of brushed over it. This will be, the last topic before we go into the game picks, unless there's another topic you want to talk about. Jordan Love, we finally got to see him. And he played, in my opinion, he played phenomenal in his limited time. The balls had tight spirals on it. They were on time. There was anticipation. There was touch. There was vision. That's what you want to see out of your backup quarterback that potentially could be a franchise quarterback. So, if you're the Packers, do you give him, with Aaron Rodgers being hurt, even if Aaron says he can play, do you give him this week? And then, are you ready to hand the keys to the car over once Aaron Rodgers leaves this, potentially this season? Do you hand the keys over, or do you draft another quarterback?
Yeah, if Aaron Rodgers is gone, whether he retires or goes somewhere else, yeah, absolutely. Jordan Love has shown enough in his short time playing in preseason, playing this past game, and playing garbage time that he is a quarterback that's ready to take the helm and make a playoff push. I think his passes are, like you said, perfect. He knows where to place it, perfect spiral. He looks like he can command a team to win playoff games and make a deep push. But I will say that I don't think anybody at this given time should start anybody over Aaron Rodgers, unless you have Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen on the same team somehow. Aaron just came off of back-to-back MVPs.
He's injured right now. That's the only reason why I said that. I'm not saying time to bench him. But he's got a hurt thumb and he's got a hurt ribs.
There are a few people. One of them I was actually talking to today, and a couple people on Twitter that have said that it is time for Aaron Rodgers to hang it up. He's washed. He's terrible. He needs to retire. He needs to go somewhere else. He just doesn't have it anymore. It makes zero sense to me to have a guy win back-to-back MVP, and then the next season after that.
Name some names.
I don't name drop, bro.
My man.
I don't name drop. Joshua Kim.
Oh, he name dropped. Okay. I thought I just called him called out, man.
Yeah, but and that same person also said that if he was the GM whatever of the Packers, and the Los Angeles Rams came to them and said, "Hey, we want Jordan Love, and we will give you Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald," he said he wouldn't take it. So that's all you need to know. Not my words, his words.
You messed up your mic. Does it heads up? You press the button.
I think I lost you.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear anything now. There we go.
Oh yeah, they made a noise and went beep, and then all of a sudden you started sounding like a robot and everything. I was like, oh man, Panic at the Disco over there.
I have lost my audio. Welcome to the booth.
Welcome to the booth.
I can't hear anything, but I'm just going to I'm going to guess what you said, and it's something along the lines of, that man's insane. Why would you not take a Triple Crown winning wide receiver, and why would you not take possibly the greatest defensive player to ever play the game for a unproven backup quarterback? I don't know. Absolutely insane if you ask me.
While I get you can't hear me, so I'm gonna message you.
Yeah, but I don't know why I lost audio. So this is fun. I'm in the dark here, so I don't know what's being said. I don't know if the show's ending. I don't know. I don't know what we got going on here.
Check your Snapchat, Taylor. You can't read. Yeah. Check your phone, guys. Like I said, this show would not be this show without technical difficulties. You can hear me, but I can't hear you. Taylor, why you fix your mic? I'm gonna let you. Guys, this is funny. If you're listening from Spotify, this man, it just looks like he's mouthing things. Taylor, I'm gonna give you I can't hear you, man. I know you can hear me. I'm gonna let you fix your mic. While you do that, I'm gonna pull up the games. All right, and I'm gonna talk to the people and remind them. All right, while we pull the games up, that this is the booth with Taylor and Brandon. Before we go into the game picks, we already said that the Bills were gonna win this game on Thursday night. Now we are live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. We'll be standard next week. We're going to get the schedule more, follow the schedule a little better. And then we, again, are on Spotify. We've seen significant growth, so thank you guys all out there. Continue to listen and tell your buddies, tell your friends, tell everybody about it. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and TikTok as well. And webinar live, man. Tell us your opinion, topics that you want us to talk about. Taylor, let me know if you fixed your mic.
Can you hear me now?
I can. All right.
There we go. Thank you.
All right.
Welcome to the booth, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the booth, guys. Technical difficulties up and right. All right. Now we'll go into these game picks now that we can have a proper conversation.
Now that we can hear.
Yeah. All right. So we have the Bills are up 17-7. All right. So we have the Titans versus the Eagles.
I've got the Eagles.
All right. I have the Eagles as well, especially if Jordan Davis comes back. We have the Steelers versus the Falcons.
Steelers.
All right. I'm going to go Falcons there. So I don't know if you're writing it on your phone for okay.
Yep.
All right. Broncos, Ravens.
Ravens.
Ravens country. Let's right. I'm going to go with that one too. The Packers versus the Bears.
Packers.
I'm going Bears. I think of
I guess if Justin Fields is I'm going Packers because if they start Jordan Love, I think he's got it. Justin Fields is injured.
All right, I'll go Bears.
I'm going Packers.
I'll take the split. We have the Jaguars versus the Lions.
I got the Jaguars.
I like what Trevor Lawrence is doing. I'm gonna go with the Lions. I gotta catch up to you. So
picking the Lions ain't it, bud.
Hey, you ain't lying. All right, we have the Browns versus the Texans.
Browns.
Deshaun Watson's first came back. I'm going to take the Browns as well. Also, we didn't talk about this, but Deshaun Watson's first came back, and he has 10 of his accusers attending the game saying you're not going to get rid of us that easy. We have the Jets versus the Vikings.
Vikings.
Jets are looking pretty good, 7-4.
Yeah, take them.
No, I'm going Vikings. I'm not dumb. All right, we have
the the man who just took the Lions.
We have the Commanders versus the Giants.
Giants. Commanders. I'm not dumb.
All right.
It's a tough one.
That is a tough one. I'm going to take the Giants. I'll take the split. I think that Saquon's balling out. We have the Rams versus your brother's Seahawks team.
Seahawks.
Going Seahawks as well.
Which means I have to send Mike money this upcoming weekend.
Oh, you made a bet before the season?
Every single year we do a bet.
No, man, that sucks. Dolphins versus the 49ers. Good. That's a good game.
That's a good game. There's a lot of playoff potential in that game, too.
Yep.
Dolphins.
All right, I'll take the Niners. I'll take the split.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's going to be a good game, though.
Another good
That's
game.
That's going to be a shootout.
Chiefs versus the Bengals. The Bengals. Everyone says it's not the Bengals. It's the Bengals.
The Bengals had the Chiefs' number last year. I don't think they have it this year.
Going with Chiefs?
Chiefs. Yeah.
All right. I'll take the split and go with the Bengals.
And I know, I'm pretty sure
Jamar Chase comes back. Joey Burrow's been playing well, so
I think they're still going to rely on T. Higgins a lot because coming off of that knee injury or hip injury, I don't think he's going to be 100% just yet.
All right, we had the Chargers versus the Raiders.
That's a tough one. Chargers.
I'm going Chargers as well. Then we have the Colts versus the Cowboys.
You know my thing, Colts.
All right, I'm going Cowboys. That should help me really bad. The Colts got back-to-back primetime games. Look at that.
I'm picking the Colts every single week, and you're still behind.
Yeah, okay, I'm taking the Cowboys to help me catch up. All right, we have the Saints versus the Bucks.
Buccaneers.
All right, I'm going Buccaneers as well. I think the Saints are just a bad team.
It's over.
Yeah. All right, Taylor, I'm going to let you do the call out and the end of the show stuff. So take it away.
Thank you guys for everybody that is watching on YouTube. Thank you for everyone who is going to eventually be listening to us on Spotify. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you have any comments or any topics that you would like for us to discuss on our next show, please drop them in. Shoot us a DM on Twitter. It is at The Booth on Twitter. Please let us know. We are 100% open to incorporating your issue or anything that you have an issue with what we said. If you want to counter our points or you have something that we have yet to talk about that you think is newsworthy, let us know. You can DM us, add us on Twitter, whatever it is, comment on our YouTube video. We would love to hear from you guys. That's one of the aspects of this show that makes it great, is hearing back from you guys, hearing your views, your opposing views, or if you're like, yeah, I agree with Brandon, what Taylor said was ridiculous, whatever it is, we love to hear it regardless. And thank you again for listening and tuning in every single week. We will be back next week on Tuesday, and hopefully there are no scheduling conflicts like we've had the past couple of weeks. And that'll be our regular time and day at 8 o'clock on Tuesday. So thank you, everybody. Tailor and Brandon